What's up everyone, it's Smenoz, aka Jay, back again with another video for you guys. Today we're going to be talking about PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. This game is very interesting. I've been addicted to it for probably the past month or so. I've been playing the heck out of it. It's been a good time, but I wanted to talk about my overall thoughts on it. I want to talk about whether this game is really good or not at its core, because I've been getting a lot of questions from you guys in the comments and personally through messages that there are some elements to this game that are really off, and it's confusing to some people as to why it's getting so popular. So I'm here to answer basically that question, and if you're on the fence about buying this game, I'm going to give you a few little details about it that may swing your opinion one way or another. It may totally not, but I'm just here to give my opinion. Alright, so like I previously stated, I'm having such a fun time on this game. It has been a really good time. I haven't been addicted to a game like this probably since Rocket League, and which was a couple of years ago. So I've been looking for a game to play for a very long time, but I've been going back to games like Battlefield 3 and Rocket League, like I just stated, but these games are years old and they're really on the down curve of their life cycle now. That could be argued with Rocket League, but Battlefield 3 definitely. So I wanted a new game to get into. Well, up comes PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and I was hearing everything about it, and everyone was saying, oh, it's a pretty good game, you should try it out, pretty good, you know. I try it out, and I instantly see why this game is so popular. Okay, first things first, very addictive game, right? Obviously, the developers know what they're doing in terms of making a very addictive style. It's basically, essentially what the game is you spawn down in a parachute, you pick up weapons, you pick up different pieces of loot, and then the map will slowly get smaller over time. That happens randomly, although there have been some theories. Some people try to work out exactly where it's going to go, but it is indeed random. From what I know, unless someone can tell me otherwise, I don't see like the area getting smaller. You can sort of predict where it's going to go. Like, for example, if it's going to close in on the military base, you can sort of see that it's going to close in around that area. So you sort of want to get around in that area. You want to cross the bridge before people can camp up on it. But without going too far in depth, one thing that you do need to note though is that you really don't get rewarded in terms of in-game rewards. The only thing that you really get is new pieces of clothing. And you don't really get any sort of power-up from it. You don't get anything from it, except aesthetically you get something. But to me, I don't really care about that. Like, to me, in-game rewards where you get slight stat increases, it doesn't really make any sense to me, like pre-game. I like the whole idea that you get stronger in-game. It's got some RPG style elements to it if you think about it, so that's pretty cool. As you see on screen, the graphics are pretty good, but it's expected of this engine. And, you know, it's very similar to H1Z1 in many aspects. The difference between H1Z1 and Battlegrounds is actually a good game. No disrespect to H1Z1. I just didn't enjoy it personally. I think the gunplay is really off. But there is definitely some aspects in Battlegrounds where the gunplay is off as well. I'll have some gameplays, some live gameplays coming up in the future to show you guys exactly some of those bad aspects and some of the really good aspects as well. But be sure to stay tuned for that. It's coming up on the channel. But back to what I was saying about playing the game repeatedly. Now, the point of playing it repeatedly is that you learn the map itself and you learn the gunplay of the game. You're not rewarded by your character getting better. You're rewarded by you yourself getting better. And I've been, you know, spouting this off for a very long time. If you guys have been watching my videos for years upon years, you'll know that I always say I'm sick of games where the character gets upgraded and you don't. There's too much random elements. This game definitely does have those random elements, but it is still being developed, so you do need to keep that in mind. But the main aspect of this game is you get better as a player, and that is really awesome. Some of the most successful games in history have done this. Think about, I mean, in any community, I mean, the Mario games, you get better as a player. Tekken, Battlefield, wherever you want to go, like games like this, Counter-Strike, the most successful games ever go by this basis. And for some reason, recently in AAA titles, they've gone totally away from this. That being said, there are some negatives to it. It's really hard to vault over things. Sometimes you think you can jump over stuff and it doesn't work. That's really to do with the engine. Nothing development-wise can really change that, question mark. There are some things they could do, like make some of the walls like lower so people could jump over them easier, but that, you know, that's just, you know, that could be easily changed over time. I did have an issue where I couldn't shoot my gun, and it was extremely infuriating. I got so mad where I literally, I'll tell you what happened, right? I pick up a shotgun, I shoot at this guy, and I'm clicking to fire. Nothing's happening. Now, the reason that this happened, my theory is that I was already dead on his side of the screen, so I couldn't fire because the game already registered me as dead. And this is extremely frustrating. It's a very poor gameplay design. And obviously, you know, you're going to have things like that in early development, but again, it was extremely frustrating. It was so frustrating, I almost punched my monitor out. So that was... I don't really get angry at games nowadays, but that just really set me off. I've never had it in a game for in a first or third person shooter where I wanted to punch my freaking monitor. It was rough, man. It was a rough time. Now, the next reason I'm going to state about the reward aspect, this may sound like it's coming out of my ass, but I think one of the main things about Battlegrounds is that your stat padding. You're trying to increase your stats because that is the sign of you yourself increasing as a player in terms of your skill, right? A lot of people come to me and say, what is the point? You get all these weapons, you get all this loot, and then you die halfway and you give whatever opponent who kills you all your stuff. And that's true. I'm not going to deny that. Full stop. I'm not going to deny that. But, I say but, the idea is that you get better as a player to the point where you're the one killing them and you're the one winning these matches, so you're taking their loot. That is, at its core, what PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds actually is. And that's why it's gotten so popular. Recently, I've had a lot of people asking me about games that I used to cover. In particular, I'm talking about Battlefield. Why don't you play Battlefield anymore? Because it's about the character getting better, not you yourself getting better. Too many random elements. The games are coming out more frequently, so you don't have time to develop your skill. That's why I don't play Battlefield, essentially. I'm going to have a video coming up on that more in depth in the future, but we're talking about Battlegrounds, so I best get back on track. At its core, the reason I enjoy Battlegrounds so much, and I think the reason that people who haven't played it will enjoy it as well, at least I hope so, is that the game is simply something that we haven't seen in a really long time, and that is, like I've been stating multiple times, is you yourself improving as a player. The problem now is, can they hang on to that, and will random elements come in the future? Because I've seen plenty of games where at its core it's really good, but then they try to add random things in between and it really ruins the experience. That's why games like Rust dropped off. You know, I remember that game was super popular. Will PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds drop off? That's another question. Will it drop off in the future? Is it just the buzz game of the month? Well, I think that because of its addictive elements, that it won't drop off. In fact, I believe it will grow. I think that they could do well with possibly lowering the price of the game. It's now $30 Australian, which is a bit expensive. Regarding hackers, it's really good because there really aren't that many. They're very strict about removing hackers from the game, and I think that's really awesome. That they're, you know, getting rid of these guys, a very strict policy, and a lot of games on PC, especially on Steam, do not do this. You'll run into hackers all the time, right? So they've got that pretty well covered. At its core, it's a really simple game, and I can really appreciate that type of approach. I like games that do not overcomplicate things and have a simple premise. I can also appreciate the fact that if you hit someone with a frying pan enough times, you can beat someone with an assault rifle. I freaking love that, man. I love that, you know, when you start off, you have literally nothing, and you build your way up as the game goes on, and I think that's really cool. Some really frustrating aspects regarding Battlegrounds, especially in the late game, is the Kar 98 snipers. Well, not just the Kar 98, the AWM, etc., etc. The snipers are really, really frustrating because even if you have Even if you have good loot, you'll still get one-shotted a lot of the time, and I think that's something they could really work on. And as well, the shotguns. You're going to see in videos coming up on my channel some gameplays, one of which is where I've got a shotgun and I'm shooting a guy probably 20-30 meters away. I one-shot him with a shotgun. That is absolutely mad, and that is crazy. I don't like that. I don't think that should be a thing. I think the shotguns can be really powerful, but at the same time, they can be really weak. They're very, very, very unpredictable. If you played the game, you'll know exactly what I mean. Either you're going to one-shot him for 20 meters, or you're going to take 4 shots to kill him at close range. The other thing to note, close range, the gunplay is very, very dodgy. It is very bad. Medium and long range, very, very crisp gunplay. For some reason at close range, I believe it's because of the engine, it's had this problem for a long time. Close range, all logic goes out the window. That does need to be changed as this game gets developed, because it could be considered game breaking. Alright, so there's my super mega serious video about Battlegrounds. This will be the last serious video about it. Next is just going to be me shooting and giggling while playing while wrecking some fools on the Battlegrounds. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. I would like to know if you made it all the way till the end of this video, the keyword for this one. What are we going to make the keyword today? I think we're going to make it StatPad. StatPad. S-T-A-T space P-A-D. StatPad. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, put StatPad in the comments section so I know you made it. And I think it's really cool that on the last video I did, I made the Anthem video. I almost forgot what the video I made was. Anthem. That so many people said the keyword, which was Eagle. So many of you guys said that, and I was shocked that so many of you watched till the end of these videos, especially because I've made the videos so much longer. That's absolutely awesome. I appreciate that so much. As a creator, that means a lot to me that I'm putting time and effort into these videos, and I see so many of you watching every single minute, every single second, and liking and commenting. I appreciate that so much. So the keyword for today is StatPad. Alright guys, overall opinion of Battlegrounds, think it's a really good game, think it's really addictive, and I'm going to be playing it even more. And yes, it frustrates the freaking hell out of me, it pisses me off, but it also makes me smile, it makes me laugh, and that's what a good game does. So with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like, share, subscribe, and peace.